South Korea's June 3rd local elections are now just 50 days away, marking the first major nationwide vote since President Lee Jae Myung officially took office. For more on how the race is shaping up, our political correspondent Moon Hye-ryeon joins us here in the studio with us. Welcome, Hye-ryeon.
Good evening, Mok-yeon.
So let's start with the big picture first, Hye-ryeon. So what exactly is really at stake in this latest elections, and why is it drawing so much attention right now?
So the results will effectively serve as the first report card of sorts for the Lee government, and with the ruling Democratic Party already holding a majority in the National Assembly, it's heading into the contest in a commanding position. On the flip side, if the results disappoint, we could start hearing calls for a check on executive power as early as next year. What's making this feel particularly consequential is President Lee's current approval rating, sitting at over 60% for the fifth consecutive week according to Realmeter. Even in traditionally conservative strongholds like Daegu and Gyeongsang-buk-do province, positive ratings have crossed 55%. The Democrats are in a genuinely strong position right now, and party leader Chung Cheong-rae has made the party's ambitions clear.
We will sweep the country in a wave of blue and win the June 3rd local elections.
Wow, Hye-ryeon, so that first report card, it's definitely drawing a lot of attention. So tell us, where does the race currently stand right now? And also tell us about the key battlegrounds.
So to start off, the Democrats are, currently finishing its candidate selection process, and it's essentially finished because they filled 13 out of the 16 regional seats. And this whole Gyeonggi-do province and Incheon candidates even held a joint press conference this week, pledging to run coordinated campaigns across the capital region. DP's Seoul candidate Chung Won-ho said that it's important that Seoul, Gyeonggi and Incheon pool their strength to drive national competitiveness forward. 6 regions already have their full matchups confirmed: Busan, Incheon, Gangwon, Ulsan, Daejeon and Gyeongsang-namdo province, where People Power Party incumbents will face off against senior Democratic figures. The People Power Party, by contrast, is still mid-primary in Seoul, has yet to even begin its Gyeonggi race, and is dealing with significant internal fallout in Daegu, where 2 prominent figures who were cut from the primary are both signaling independent runs. People Power Party leader Jang Dong-hyuk, who drew criticism this week for departing on a 5-night trip to Washington just 50 days before the election, has sought to project some confidence.
We stand at the threshold of opening a greater future, built on 4 years of overwhelming achievement.
As for the key battlegrounds, Seoul, Busan and Daegu, Seoul is historically a bellwether. Voters there have swung between the 2 parties in each of the last 3 major elections, making it the most symbolically significant race on the board, with incumbent Mayor Oh Se-un facing DP challenger Chung Won-ho, who is running on a 12-year record as Hongdong-gu district chief. In Busan, the Democrats are riding the national mood, but the city handed the People Power Party 17 of its 18 parliamentary seats in the last general election. So whether that momentum can overcome the city's conservative track record remains the central question. And in Daegu, traditionally the heart of conservative Korea, the People Power Party's internal chaos may prove to be its own worst enemy, with 2 prominent figures cut from the primary threatening independent runs that could split the conservative vote and open a path for Democratic candidate and former Prime Minister Kim Buk-yeon.
So a very contrast situation we're seeing between the 2 major parties. But beyond this regional races, we hear that the by-elections, it's also being held at the same time. Tell us about that.
Right, and as you said, this is actually what's generating a lot of the political intrigue right now, because several sitting lawmakers are currently sitting for governor or mayor, and the National Assembly seats are opening up, and those by-elections are happening on the same day. At least 10 seats are already confirmed, and depending on how the remaining primaries play out, that number could climb as high as 17, making it, as some are calling it, a mini general election. The most watched seat is in Busan, where the DP is courting the presidential AI advisor Ha Jung-woo to run, while former PPP politician Han Dong-un has effectively declared his own candidacy in the same district, raising the prospect of a high-profile 3-way race.
Right, so we'll have to keep close tabs on how the situation would develop leading up to the elections. Thank you so much for your report, Hye-ryeon.
Thank you for having me.